What's up everybody? Welcome back to the Midnight Paint and Body channel. In this video, we're going to start prepping up this Chevy 2 for the TCI 4-link suspension. So if you're new to this particular project, I'll just give you a real quick rundown. So it's 64 Chevy 2. I've been parked a really long time. So far, we've done full trunk floors in it. I've narrowed the frame rails for the mini tubs, obviously installed the mini tubs. Yeah, new quarter panels. And I just kind of finished up the floors yesterday. You know, it's a super solid car, didn't need full floors, so just put partial floor pans in. And I repaired the hump where it had a big nasty hole cut in it for a shifter at some point in its life. So there's an inside view of the mini tubs. So the next thing is going to be to remove this complete rear suspension for the 4-link setup. All of these spring mounts, all of that's got to be completely cut out from what I understand. I haven't looked too closely yet. So this is the TCI 4-link suspension. There's a bunch of the pieces, narrowed Currie 9-inch. And then there's the big box, which I just cut the tape on. And this is, oh, you don't see anything. This is the first time I've actually opened it. So, oh, that's a lot of packaging. Holy spray foam. All right. Okay, so there's a look at some of the pieces. Oh, that is one Skookum drive shaft loop. Holy crap. All right, so there's some of the bits, but for now, I am just going to start removing the rear suspension out of this car, which is probably not very exciting, but I'll kind of intermittently turn the camera on and show you guys what's going on. My disclaimer, I'm definitely no expert. I've never done this before, but I figured I'm going to learn as I go along, and maybe it can help someone else out who is potentially going to be doing the same project. So let's get started. All right, there's the rear differential out. As you can see, it just fell right out without any problems or fighting or rusty bolts. Piece of cake. So, with that out of the way, our next task is actually removing these spring hangers for the 4-link bar. I'm gonna catch my breath, and then I'm going to have a look at the directions before I start cutting, but I'm sure those are the next to go. So just messing around for a minute there, I just wanted to try this 295/50 up in that wheelhouse. So with those Detroit Speed mini tubs, it has plenty of clearance, and the tire's not really sitting straight on there, but you can see lots of room. There's a good 1.5 inches to the frame rail there. I've got it centered. Yeah, there's a good 1.5 inches to the wheel lip, so we can still fit more tire than that under this thing. I think the customer was planning 315s, so that'll be a little more meat than these 295s, but yeah, just thought I'd show you guys that, because now that the rear end's out, it's the first time I've been able to try jamming one in there. anyway, thought I'd bring you guys in for a quick look. I thought I'd be ready to do a test fit of this cross member, but not quite. So I've taken out those leaf spring hangers from up at the front. So those are out, but then I've got to take these bump stops out as well. But unfortunately, they're just not coming out nice, even with drilling out the spot welds with this old metal. I'm kind of ripping holes in it, getting everything apart. So it's just going to be a little extra work. I mean, it's not a big deal. I will just cut that section out and put a new piece of steel in there. Floor as well. This is where the e-brake cable hanger was, and then this was that bump stop. Same as that side. So I just need to get this one out. We'll be able to do a test fit of the cross member. But then before obviously anything goes in for good, I'm going to need to rebox this frame rail. Hopefully I can get that side out nicer. But I just figured we'd come in for a check-in because it is pretty much the end of the day and I think I'm about done. It's Friday. It's nice out. It's beer time. So yeah, hopefully be back on this next week. I've got another job outside already for Monday morning, but yeah. I'll bring you guys back when we get back to this thing. Well, it's the end of the day. Let's go blow off a little steam. It's my 1979, I guess, Honda XL75. I got that bike from a guy that was taking it to the dump. I got it running. We've had it for years. My kids have ridden it, I've ridden it, my kids' friends have ridden it. It's just ridiculous. It just sat all winter and it just started on the third kick. Bombing around. For some reason it's more fun to rip around the yard than my good dirt bike. Anyway, it's beer time. Okay, so I'm back underneath the Chevy too. So it's been a couple days, or a day or two. I apologize if the video has been a little bit jumbled lately. I've been kind of working on a whole bunch of different projects. Just not enough hours in the day. Not enough energy in my 50-year-old body. So, if you're an experienced body man and you want to work long hours for shit pay, get hold of me. I'll hook you up. Anyway. Okay. So, we're just kind of mocking up this 4-link. So, I'm just kind of piecing it together a little bit. Obviously, there's still a ton of work to do on the floor and everything under here, but for now, I just want to get this stuff kind of mocked up in place. So, we're going to put these frame connectors in place. Yeah. Okay, I think these are the right bolts. Anyway, nothing's getting tightened up, so... Actually, I don't even need the nuts in there, I think. Oh yeah, I see. So obviously all this stuff's in the instructions, but you know, if you're planning on doing this, you might be interested in kind of seeing someone else throw one together. Alright, so yeah, these are gonna fit right on there, no problem. I think I'm just gonna need to put the jack under that and just push it into place, but then we're gonna be drilling holes through the frame rails right there. So that's easy. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll have another look and see what the next piece is. Okay, so there's our front frame rails drilled. And these are the transmission mount right here. So we're basically bolted on with these frame connectors. Sorry if the light's crappy under here. Well, let's see what the instructions say to do next. Okay, so we've run into one small glitch here. So this rear shock mount is going to mount basically there. We need to measure it precisely. Hopefully you can see down there with the camera. But I had purposely not welded this trunk floor in just to give myself more access while I was doing all this, but it looks like I need to weld the trunk floor in because I need to drill these through the trunk floor, put bolts through, and then these plates are going to weld onto the ends on the other side. So here's just a quick little tech tip for you guys. With doing restoration work, with doing collision work, with doing any of this kind of stuff, never ever throw away your old parts until you're completely finished. Even if it's something that seems as pointless as a rusty old trunk floor. So now I knew I have to weld these fuel tank supports onto the new trunk floor. So because of that, I knew to save this. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. You can kind of see where they go, but it's always nice to keep these original parts. Now I can measure precisely where the originals were, and I can make sure the new ones are in exactly the right place. So always remember that, even if it seems as pointless as some rusted out old inner panel that's garbage, you may need to know where some holes go, or where some little brackets go, or grommets. It's just good to keep everything until you are done. Let's just rewind for a quick second. What I said about these end plates needing to weld onto the ends. From what I can gather looking at this, I don't think we're using these because we've installed the mini tubs. This one comes like this for the mini tubs because we don't have room to put those other end plates around the other side of the frame rail. So, that's why. Hey guys, so it's been a minute. Actually, I think it's been about 4 weeks since I worked on the Chevy 2. So I figured I should bring you guys back in for a look. I've been continuing some patching on the floor, and I have got the rear end kind of mocked up, the first pieces. So I figured I would bring the camera in and show you guys where it's at before I do any more. So I do have the rear end in place on the link bars. So, I mean, pretty straightforward, obviously. I kind of brought you along when I was putting in all the braces and brackets. So, that's how that is looking up to this point. Like I say, I mean, this is just the 4 bars and 8 bolts kind of putting it in place. This bolt with the shock mount is actually supposed to be on top, just in case you're familiar with these. You're going to say I did it wrong, but I know that's in the wrong spot, but it's just holding it in place right now. So I think I'm going to see what else I can mock up. I think there's a sway bar and stuff to mock up in here, so I'll probably get that mocked up. And then I'm getting real close now to, yeah, basically just taking all this back out, and then I'm going to take the car outside and get it up in the air the best I can and sandblast the whole underside and get it ready for paint. So here's a quick little tech tip for you guys if you're doing this job, especially if you're wrestling around this really heavy rear differential by yourself. Be sure to not install it completely upside down, because that's what I did. Yeah, I just slid it into place the way I thought it went. Yeah, those big brackets are supposed to be hanging down. I've got it, I mean, I should have clued in with the vent being on the bottom, obviously, but yeah, sometimes it happens. I guess I'm going to take this back out, flip her around, and put her back in. Dumbass. So look at the differential flipped around to her correct orientation. But you just did that to see if you guys were paying attention. So you can correct me when I'm doing things wrong. Because I'll tell you, if this stuff is helping anybody out, well then that's great, but we are actually learning together at that point, because this is the first time I've done one of these. Okay, I'm gonna have another look and see what the next piece of the puzzle is. So it's the next day again. I have removed the entire 4-link suspension from the Nova. I mentioned yesterday I was going to mock up the sway bar and kind of go through the steps of that. I decided not to bother. It's strictly a bolt-in thing. I figured I may as well wait till everything's painted and it can be assembled for good. So where we're at now, so the car is all, once again, stripped down underneath, so nothing new to see there. The initial plan with this car, I probably mentioned before, it was just going to be a quick cleanup of the undercarriage and paint it black. But that's changed now. We're going to be actually completely sandblasting the underside of the car and painting it body color, which I will disclose the color on a later video if you're curious what color she's going to end up being. So my initial, I guess, takeaway on this 4-link setup. Now, as I've said at the start, I mean, I'm a body man. I'm not a car builder per se, but this truly is a bolt-in kit. So you can, you know, if you've got, you know, a reasonably well-equipped shop, there's no reason you can't install this kit at home. The TCI stuff, it fits so good. It's such high quality stuff. I'm really impressed with it. I can't say I've got a lot to compare it to. It's not like I've done a bunch of 4-link suspensions. It's my first one, like I said. But yeah, really, really good quality stuff. I'm super impressed. So my next step on the car, I'm going to be actually just finishing up some body work on the outside. Like I said before, I'm only finishing up the quarters, the underside. At that point, customer will be taking it and doing a lot of the stuff he wants to do, and eventually it'll come back for the rest of the body and the paint. So, that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, you know, like we always say on YouTube, just do me a favor, hit the subscribe and the like and the notification bell and share the videos, whatever, and definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this kind of stuff. If you enjoy the video, you can just help me out by just leaving a comment, hitting subscribe. I certainly appreciate it. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope to see you on the next one.